Employee versus independent contractor. The difference is a lot more than just those terms. The Economic Policy Institute says a worker who should be an employee but is classified a contractor loses almost $17,000 worth of income and benefits every year. This is more common than you might think, especially in certain industries. And today, John Croman was in a room of decision makers here in Minnesota that are trying to take this one head on. Hi, John.
Hey, Jana. One of the overriding themes we heard today at the Capitol is that misclassification doesn't just hurt the workers involved, but also hurts honest employers and taxpayers who have to pick up the tab for injuries on job sites.
This is a beginning. It's our first meeting.
In a conference room on the third floor of the state capitol, members of a new working group sat down for the first time to dive into an issue that has grown with the gig economy: misclassification of workers. Attorney General Keith Ellison set out to pack the room with many different perspectives.
We got a group that includes both workers and employers, business and labor. And we're trying to come to a set of ideas where everybody can prosper, we have fairness. And one of the groups that I'm real concerned about is the companies who treat workers fairly. They should not be at a competitive disadvantage because they follow the rules.
In construction especially, there are many workers who think they're an employee of a company, but learn too late they're being treated and paid as independent contractors instead.
If your employer, air quotes, says you're not an employee, but you're an independent contractor, they can pay you, but then not take any of the responsibilities that go with the employer-employer relationship, and then still try to direct every aspect of your work. That's not fair.
The task force is co-chaired by State Representative Emma Greenman of Minneapolis.
Our whole economy and the whole, I call it the social contract, is built on the fact that, employers employ employees, and what comes with that is unemployment insurance, workers' comp, but also just general wage and hour protections, discrimination protections, all those things.
The Attorney General's office and the Department of Labor and Industry do have some enforcement powers over wage theft, which is another growing problem with the workforce, but some workers fear coming forward to report abuse.
With vulnerable workers, with folks who may not have status, they are being misclassified, and in some cases that looks like just being paid under the table. And so it's depriving those workers of, in construction, in addition to the wages they deserve, in addition to the issues of wage theft, it's also a workers' comp issue. Those are really dangerous jobs, and if you get hurt on the job and you're misclassified, you won't have access to workers' comp. You also might not have access to health care.
This group will recommend new legislation and look for ways to help workers and employers know what their rights are.
We don't really want a lawsuit. We want people to comply with the law. And a lot of businesses do. So we think the rest should.
Well, at the same time this task force is working, the Office of Legislative Auditor is reviewing whether the current laws are adequate to deal with the misclassification of workers. Representative Greenman says it's not just about passing tougher laws, but also making sure that state agencies have the resources they need to tackle these problems. Jana?
John Croman, you've been at the Capitol a long time. This feels like an issue that didn't just pop up today. Has this been talked about before and never got anywhere?
It's been talked about, and they've kind of worked around the edges of it, but there's been, under the divided legislature, there was a lot of hesitancy on one side of the aisle not to do anything that would impact employers.
Okay. Thanks, John.